Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, best smell.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Best smell.
Stop saying
Best smell.
Stop saying best smell like that into your microphone.
Best smell.
I realize of all of the titles for episodes, this is probably one of the weirder ones to say in that voice.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Should we get started?
Yeah, who suggested this? Do you remember?
This was... Let me look.
I drilled you.
You did. Hold on.
Nailed you. You weren't ready for this. This jelly?
Hal.
Yes.
Michelle Perkins has a question for us.
Go ahead, Michelle. I'm listening.
Oh, you're going to have to get it via me.
Go ahead, Michelle. Michelle,
Hi,
you're on the air.
Hi, this is Michelle Perkins.
Oh, yes. Hello, Michelle. Thank you for
Listen,
calling.
I am such a huge fan of We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Oh, thank you.
Hal's my favorite.
Oh,
I could take or leave Mark, but Hal is great.
You know what? It takes both of us to make the show go.
No, that's not true. That's
Fair enough.
not true.
Okay, look, I'm trying to be humble here. What's your question?
Stop blushing. I, Michelle Perkins, have this question for you. What's the best smell? I'll take my answer offline.
Your own farts.
Wait, what? I just got here, Hal. What? I was just walking up to my computer. Who were you talking to, and why did the last sentence end in farts?
It's Michelle Perkins.
Oh, hi, Michelle.
What the best smell was. She's gone. She hung up.
Oh.
She wants to know what the best smell is. I instinctually said your own farts, which is not true. I think we're tolerant of that, but that's not the answer. I was being jokey. It wasn't good. I wish we'd stop talking about it, but I feel like I'm extending the bit right now.
You're making this bit go longer.
And scene.
And nope, now I'm going to ask you fart questions.
Go ahead.
Do you
fart? I do.
Do you?
We all do.
Do you
Everybody
fart?
does. Everybody does.
Everybody farts. We all fart.
Everybody does.
Are you nose blind to your own farts?
No, I don't think anybody is. Is that possible? Is that something that's true?
I think that, I think the mild ones I can be nose blind to and be like, that was fine. And then whoever else is in the room is like, holy cow.
I think you're accustomed to it, sort of in the way you can't tickle yourself.
Exactly. I think that's what it is.
It takes a lot to be grossed out, but we're talking about the best smell. This is nowhere at the top. I do want to come immediately. You made a list of some of the top smells.
Yeah, this is just scoured from the internet. There's a bunch of them, and most of them were on multiple lists. So those are the ones that I put on here.
One came up that I looked at. Well, there are two that have me concerned.
Oh, I bet I know what one of them is. And I will tell you this, at least one of my siblings, I think two of them love this smell.
Go ahead.
And that's the smell of gasoline at the pump.
Yeah, that's one. That's one for sure. I mean, I get it. It's not always the worst smell, but it smells like danger. It smells like you don't want to get too deep in with this smell. Like what you've whiffed is enough and don't come any closer. And it's the same thing I get off of a Sharpie.
Really?
It smells like a warning. They both do.
Yeah, Sharpie was another weird one that I saw come up multiple times. You know, people sniff markers. They open them up, smell the thing, and
we all
don't do it too hard because it's going to make you dizzy and fall over.
Exactly. It's bad for you. Like
it is very bad for you.
Paint fumes can't be the answer. So there's no way that either of these two are the answer because they are cousins. There are some interesting choices on here. Is there a favorite smell of yours?
Yes.
What is
I have? Man, you know what? It's tough. I vacillate between a lot of favorite smells.
Right.
Because I will smell something and go, that's the best smell in the whole world.
Sure.
And then I will go, oh, no, that's the best smell in the whole, which is why I'm one of those people that has, sitting right here on my desk, an essential oil diffuser. I love the smell of essential oils. Many of the combos that, the citrusy ones I really like.
They're great.
But my favorite of the smells that frequently get put into essential oil form is lavender. And and lavender grows wild in California, and I will just see a lavender plant. I will always rub my fingers on a leaf and, it's a nice little pick me up in a day. I think it's nice to start a day. It invigorates me at the beginning and it can, chill me out at the end of the day. I'm 100% team lavender.
Sure. It's used in bath salts. It's it is a common aroma. It's a therapeutic aroma that's used commonly. I would say of plants, I have another one that's actually my favorite that I didn't encounter until I came out here, which is jasmine.
Oh, yeah.
Jasmine smells great. It's sort of a signature scent of the Los Angeles area.
Yeah. It's sort of that LA's version of wildflower smell.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes.
Flowers being on our list, obviously, stop and smell the flowers. It's funny. This list doesn't really break down like, do you want to, we can break down botanicals into like, we can find like, there's got to be some botanical that is the winner out of that, because to say flowers is so many different things. Similar, but roses smell different than lavender, smell different than, jasmine smells different than honeysuckle. Yeah.
To me, this is the real challenge. It's not breaking it down and figuring out how to organize it to go.
No. I don't think we need to organize it necessarily.
It's that the best smell is really hard to do objectively, which is what we do with everything here. It's
what we have to do.
Objective. This is the task. It's not always easy. It's very difficult here because this is really all about sense memory. The things that we find pleasant. Like, to me, the smell of like beef stew is really appealing. It's something my mother made a lot. It's not the best smell, but in the same way that if I watch Mr. Rogers, I get hungry because as a kid, it came on at dinner time. So I associate it with the smell of whatever dinner my mother was making. And that smell, I think that's the strongest sense memory that we have in terms of it brings you, every scent takes you somewhere that it either is the first time you experience that scent or is where you experience that scent the most. It's associated with something, right?
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's the scent most closely associated with nostalgia. And yeah, I agree entirely. How are we going to objectively discover what the best smell is without it becoming about just specific incidents that have nothing to do with the smell itself? You know what I mean? Yeah. Or is it possible to do that? And do we wind up finding the one that is the most universal incident? You know what I mean?
I think that's going to be part of it is what does the smell, a lot of these are pleasant in different ways. Like what makes pizza a really appealing smell is very different than what makes the smell of fabric softener or your clothes fresh out of the dryer with the smell of whatever detergent or fabric softener you've used still on them. They're both very pleasing scents, but both for completely different reasons. So it's going to have to come down to in some way what the experience, like what does that smell represent, not for us personally, but for people in general, because there are a lot of bangers on the list.
And I wonder how much of it is biology too. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure we get a lot of shade thrown at us for just talking out of our butts on this show, and we're gonna do it again.
I love that you're exploring this Facebook group and seeing the feedback that I read every day.
Yeah, it's neat. Yeah, apparently our geography's off generally. Our physics are off generally.
Correct.
So there are some on here that I think there probably is a biological element to it, like pizza being a specific one. Pizza smells great to me sometimes and not all the time. You know what I mean? If I am hungry, the smell of pizza cooking in an oven is the greatest smell in the whole world, right?
Yeah.
But that's because I'm hungry and it's my nose biologically aiming me toward food.
It is situational, but everything is. Like the smell of burning wood could be the smell of like a campfire cooking out, or it could be my house is burnt. Like you can associate it with a lot of different things.
It could be hominess or danger.
Yeah. But
pizza specifically, I don't really care if I've already eaten. If I'm not hungry and I smell a pizza baking, I'm like, oh, that smells good. Pizza joint we just walked past. But it's not a thing that will always get me. Is there something in the idea that the ultimate winner is going to be a smell that always makes you go, ah? And I think our best smell is going to be something that makes us want to inhale it deeply at any point in time.
Okay. Yeah. I do think there's going to be an element of context no matter what, but there may be one that's a little bit more context proof than other. Like there are some that I want to eliminate whole cloth.
Okay. This is fun. Let's start with that.
Okay.
But you guys can't see this list, but you can imagine that we'll talk about all of them that are important. There's which ones of these smells that are commonly regarded as pleasant smells that people really want to take in. You mentioned gasoline and Sharpies. That feels more like a niche thing. I feel like the people that love the smell of gasoline There's about the same number of those as people who think cilantro tastes like soap.
That's me. I'm one of those people.
Oh, I wonder if that's the crossover.
I used to think gasoline smelled cool just because it was so different when I was a kid, but I do not care for it now. It's more closer to giving me a headache.
Yeah.
But the two that to me, I would eliminate whole cloth. The reason I would eliminate them is because I think there are a lot of scents here that are the product of chemicals. For example, fresh laundry is a result of chemicals, but it doesn't have a chemical smell to it. Mm-hmm. Two things that to me always smell heavily chemical induced are new car and leather. Because the leather, because of how it's treated, it's like that's the reason why they smell the way they do to me.
Yeah. It's funny, like new car smell is just, it's polyurethane.
Yeah.
It is untouched polyurethane and whatever coating they put on the dashboard interior.
Right.
So I guess that the smell, it's not so much the smell of new car that is evocative. The smell of new car is not necessarily a pleasant smell. It's a smell associated with having something that is brand new.
Yes.
And something big that is brand new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I can see how new car smell. I wonder how old the concept of new car smell as a pleasant smell is. That's got to come from the greed is good 80s, right? Hey, it smells great? A brand new Cadillac. That's what smells great. Stick your nose in there. Smell this car.
I think it's as long as polyurethane has been a thing. Because we've always had air fresheners, right? Eventually your car, like you sit in it, and sweat gets in there, you eat in the car. There are a lot of things you can do that will affect the smell of it. So you use air fresheners, you use hanging things. I mean, those were around before the greed is good 80s existed.
But no, I mean new car smell as a concept of like the air freshener that is called new car smell.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like new car smell as a, hey, this is a thing that we all agree that we like.
Boy, do I hate those little hanging scent things. They do not work. They're so bad.
The little trees.
Yeah, they just don't work.
Well, if you look at the packaging on them, they tell you that the way to do it is, I think they work too much at the very beginning because you just get blasted with whatever the perfume on this little cardboard tree is. And then they stop working very quickly because all of that goes away. But if you look at the packaging for them, what it tells you to do, and this, I've never seen a car in history that does this, is just tear it open just enough, tear the plastic open just enough to pull the string out and hang it from your window while still in its original packaging. Like somehow that's going to retain the value of it, like it's a Ken or Star Wars figure. And I've never seen
pine tree.
Yeah. I've never seen someone driving around with the pine tree still in the plastic.
No, I would think that they were dumb.
Yeah. Or they had a body in the trunk.
Also wrapped in plastic.
That's the move of a person who does crazy stuff.
Sure.
Also wrapped in plastic like a Ken or Star Wars figure to retain its value still on the card.
Yeah, they have a journal where every page is filled with letters and word salad. Just like some big, some little, but no space left untouched by the ink.
How'd you draw that typewriter version of a G 3,000 times on one page?
The truth came to me, and then I ripped every key off with the G key, and I engineered the typewriter.
Hey, do you mind if I take the plastic off of this tiny tree in your car?
And otherwise the smell will escape too much. We must preserve the smell. The smell must be with us forever, Mark.
Let's talk about leather. I like the smell of leather, but I get it. I'm smelling, tanned cow skin.
Yeah.
If you stop to think about what it is.
Right? Isn't that what's used?
Is that what they use?
I don't know. Whatever they're using, the smell is pleasant, but to me, it's a little too much.
I think like gasoline and Sharpies and a lot of these, it's evocative of something. It's not the smell itself that is all that pleasant. There are some of these that the smell is pleasant and it's evocative. Right. I think that the smell is not necessarily as pleasant as the open road, leather, saddles, and you know what I mean? Like that sort of connotation that it has.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that some of those more chemical based ones are not going to wind up being near the top of our list. Can we jump to a different category of smell for a minute?
Sure.
I'd like to talk about, because I think that our ultimate winner might come out of this group. It's quite possible. I think there's some that are based on where you are and some that are based on what you're doing.
Okay.
And I think if we dive into the what you're doing, and if what you are doing is cooking, I think there's some great culinary smells that jump to the top. I know you are not a coffee guy, but for me, the smell of coffee is one of the perfect smells in the world. Roasted and not prepared, or in a cup with steam coming out of it. It smells like the morning. It smells like, coffee's one of its main descriptors is aromatic. It gets you up. It gets you up so much that Folgers commercials, all they had to do was crack open the can and people came running down the stairs for it. You know what I mean?
The best part of waking up is when Folgers is in your cup.
That's true.
Did you know that?
Unless you're talking about your athletic supporter at the gym. And if you find Folgers in that cup, then you're not going to have a great day.
It eliminates other odors. You don't know how people brew their coffee. You can't judge that.
Hey, it's old coffee junk. Coffee junk Hal, you ready for another day of football?
Yeah, let's go. First cup's on me.
Literally.
Look,
and a little bit in me.
if there's staining, that's the coffee.
Sure it is. Sure it is.
Oh, I made a bad choice.
I love that I'm on Jimmy Durante's football team.
Now let's go and make coffee in our pants.
I do like the smell of coffee. I associate it with, my mother was a daily coffee drinker, so it always, I associate that smell with her. So I have very fond feelings towards coffee, and the smell is fine. It is a strong smell. I get why it wakes you up. It's super strong. To me, it's not, I don't think it is the best smell, but I think it is one of the most smells. Is that fair to say?
Look, Hal, if we were doing most smells, it would be farts.
It depends on which one. No, it doesn't. They're all bad.
All right. Yeah, I had a feeling that coffee was not going to make the top of your list.
No, but I don't know if it should be the top of the list. Do you?
No, I don't. Though it is interesting to me that it was in the top two or every list that I saw. Cause again, we go through the internet, we find these lists. It was in the top 2 or 3 in all of them.
Interesting.
Which I thought was curious. Another one that was near the top of all of them, another culinary one that's huge for me that I start drooling every time I smell it is something in the oven. Now we can narrow that down. It can be bread. It can be cookies. It can be a cake, but something baking.
Oh yeah. The smell of cookies in particular in an oven, pretty much any kind you can think of, that might be for me the one to beat.
That is tough.
I mean, it's even used or has been used in open houses to help make a place feel like home.
Really?
If you're having an open house, you bake some cookies in the oven. So when people come in, they're hit with this smell that almost everyone identifies. Almost everyone has made cookies at home at some point in their lives. So there's a very strong connection that we all have to that smell. And it even combines one of the other favorite scents people have, which is vanilla. That's one of the things that you're smelling, but also mixed in with sugar and chocolate or whatever other ingredients you may have, or sugar cookie. Just the reaction of everything. The smell is so good. The butter. There are a lot of different things working together to create a scent that is strong, that we generally tie to a positive experience or the idea we're going to get cookies soon. Like that smell means cookies are coming.
I mean, that smell, Again, I think that we might have hit on fairly early. We might have hit on this is currently top of the mountain for us and for me too.
Yeah.
Because it's not only is the smell itself of cookies baking or of anything baking, it provides a sense of home. It provides the promise of food soon, which caveman brain goes, that kicks in. And it combines, and then the nostalgia of, family making cookies for special occasions. And, but it combines some of the other smells on this list, like you mentioned, vanilla, specifically melting chocolate. I would add that it's chocolate chip cookies being a specific part of this because the smell of melting chocolate is such a wonderfully rich, I would put it similar with coffee. And that it's got that sort of like nutty sweet tartness to the smell. And then to have that on top of the smell of vanilla and sugar caramelizing and, oh man.
I wasn't
cookies baking today. Is really.
I might fresh bake some cookies. You've had those cookies before.
I have had. You're an expert cookie smith.
Yeah.
That said, I don't know if I have a plate big enough to eat a Hal Lublin cookie off of. A Hal Lublin cookie is it's like a Pizookie. You're basically making Pizookies. Yeah.
It's the plate on which you serve your dreams. That's what I like to say about my cookies.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty perfect one. Let's talk about some of the other food ones though.
Yeah.
Because there's some,
bacon.
I was just going to say another great contender is bacon.
I think there are a large number of people who don't eat meat for whom that is an unpleasant smell for some reason. But to me, it smells very good. I love to make bacon.
Mm-hmm.
I do it in a pan. I do it low and slow. I keep the grease afterwards so that I can use it when I'm cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a really, really, really good. It's, you know, what cookies give you in sweet, the smell of bacon cooking gives you in savory.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if it's about cookies feel like an end of the day thing. Like you're home, you are
right.
You know, but
all the time.
I'm not going to get up in the morning and bake cookies. You know what I mean? At first thing in the morning to start the day. But the smells of coffee and bacon to me are, I've just slept my 8 hours, hopefully. I am starting my day. Things are beginning. There is the promise of a new day in the smell of bacon and coffee. And there's the satisfaction of rest in the smell of cookies. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yes. Look, there's a time of day for everything, no matter what Pizza Bagels are trying to convince you of with their jingle. You remember that jingle?
No, was it?
The pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can have pizza anytime. So what they're saying is, no matter what you do, if you put it on a bagel, all of the rules of when and what you're supposed to eat go out the window. You want a French dip sandwich? Put it on a bagel. You can have it at 6 a.m. You want
a prime rib? You want a Chateaubriand with a glass of Merlot? Dump that on a bagel. Have it for breakfast.
You want an ice cream sundae and a snifter of brandy? Toss that all on a bagel and it's yours.
How about a PBR and some SpaghettiOs? Pour them on a bagel. Happy breakfast.
A bagel is your passport to change the rules of your life whenever you want. If you're stuck in a rut, do you have problems? Throw those problems on a bagel and you can deal with them anytime you want.
You know what? We should take a break. While we take this break, I'm going to grab all of my bills, this stack of bills I have sitting next to me. I'm just going to put them on top of an everything bagel. And guess what? Done.
When your bills are on a bagel, you can pay your bills anytime. We'll be right back.
We Got This with Mark and Hal is brought to you in part by Curiosity Stream. Instead of rewatching the same old sitcoms and movies that you've seen 100 times, try something new with Curiosity Stream.
There are thousands of award-winning documentaries and nonfiction TV shows for you to explore. Curiosity Stream works on any device, so you can start streaming wherever you are, wherever you want. Mark, what are you jamming to on Curiosity Stream?
I'm a big fan. I am a documentary fan. I am all day. Like anytime I'm at home working, I like to have just the sound of a narrator giving me information.
Yes.
And I like to, I'm a lifelong learner. I take pride in that. And if you are also a lifelong learner out there, this is the perfect thing for you. You've got Planet of Treasures with Sir Christopher Clark exploring special places of beauty created by humans. You've got Engineering the Future, people who are building extraordinary machines. It's some of the best nonfiction stuff out there. What are you loving, Hal?
I love The History of the Home with Nick Offerman. Feels like a show it was just made for me, where you explore the past, present, and future of homes. I love looking at things like that and how culture has changed over time and technology. Just all that stuff is so great. And also, I love Fiddlin', a foot-stomping celebration of true Americana and artistic expression.
Miracles of Nature, also great.
Yep.
Sorry, we could go on and on and on.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a million.
You'd be hard-pressed to find something you didn't like. There's going to be something for you on Curiosity Stream, and they've got one of the best deals out there right now. Curiosity Stream is offering a full year subscription for just $14.99 with the code WeGotThis. That's curiositystream.com/WeGotThis.
I have to say, it's kind of cool to see something that I'm a big fan of have as on their website /WeGotThis. I just think that's cool.
It's very exciting.
That's me being nerdy. It's very exciting. It's very exciting.
See how you feel about it. Go to curiositystream.com/WeGotThis and get a full year's subscription to Curiosity Stream for $14.99.
Hi, I'm Jesse Thorne, the founder of Maximum Fun, and I have a special announcement. I'm no longer embarrassed by my brother and me. You know, for years, each new episode of this supposed advice show was a fresh insult, a depraved jumble of erection jokes, ghost humor, and frankly, this is for the best, very little actionable advice. But now, as they enter their twilight years, I'm as surprised as anyone to admit that it's gotten kind of good. Justin, Travis, and Griffin's witticisms are more refined, like a humor column in a fancy magazine. And they hardly ever say bazinga anymore. So, after you've completely finished listening to every single one of all of our other shows, why not join the McElroy brothers every week for My Brother, and Me?
Are you ready to binge watch something old?
The Greatest Generation is a podcast about Star Trek by a couple of hosts a little bit embarrassed to even have a Star Trek podcast. Hosted by me, Ben Harrison.
And me, Adam Pranica. We get into the critical, the technical, the science-fictional aspects of the show we love, while roasting it and each other at the same time.
We've completed an entire series about Star Trek The Next Generation, and another one about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and we've just begun Star Trek Voyager, so now is a great time to start watching a new Star Trek series with us.
So subscribe to The Greatest Generation on MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts, and become a friend of DeSoto today.
And we're back on the break. Producer Ken Plume threw one out there that I can't disagree with. And it's myriad smells in this place. And that is the smell of Disneyland, Hal. Now, there is not just one smell at Disneyland. There are multiple smells at Disneyland. Ride water on It's a Small World smells a lot different than the artificial smell of waffles that is pumped through the ice cream parlor, much in the same way that people bake cookies at the beginning of an open house. Yeah, there are, I wouldn't say that Disneyland is its own smell. I would say that there are a million smells in Disneyland. Every ride smells different based on whatever misters they're pumping out there.
Yeah. Well, the Main Street is made to smell like vanilla and baking cookies. That's the smell I probably think of the most.
It's waffles. It's waffle smell that they're pumping into the air through. There's two of them. They do it in the, ice cream parlor. They pump waffle cone and vanilla smell through. And then in the coffee shop, they pump coffee smell through.
But Main Street out and about has a smell too. Doesn't it have a smell spray? It's not just in the shops.
It's sprayed out of the shops.
I see.
But as you walk past, you get it wafted at you. No, Main Street definitely has a smell, especially the end of the day when it's real hot in the summertime. Like, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Main Street definitely has a smell.
Yeah. The Indiana Jones, they pump out the smell of chilled monkey brains right into Adventureland. They're all about like making a smell in your face.
Yeah.
Disneyland, the smell
making a smell in your face.
We're going to make a smell in your face. Oh boy. I hope you like the smell.
I can't smell it because I've grown nose blind.
Gorge.
Mickey farts. That's what Disneyland's smell is.
Is what happens when you smell it.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we've tapped into some of the culinary ones. There's a couple other great culinary ones. Fruit based. Coconut is another that one for me makes me feel like I'm going to the beach.
Sure. Doesn't it smell more like suntan lotion than the food though? Don't you immediately think?
Yeah.
Like,
and you know what?
Oil that I'm going to put on me.
Exactly. And that's why I love that smell. It smells like suntan lotion. It means I'm going to the beach.
Yeah. So even if you don't like to eat coconut, and some people don't, they're either allergic or they just don't like the flavor of it. You can enjoy the smell because it means soon you're going to be out in the sun or in the pool or whatever.
Again, so many of these come to the promise of something. Like I like popcorn. I don't feel the need to eat it all the time. I like popcorn. I love popcorn smell because it usually means I'm about to watch a movie.
Absolutely.
It
is movie popcorn specifically. Is a great smell that you can recreate at home very easily, as I discovered in 2020.
Just pop that oven open, throw some kernels in there. Stuff always smells better when it's cooked in the oven.
No, stop it.
Put a couple of those little trees that have new car smell in them. Leave them in the plastic.
Yes.
Yeah. What about orange?
I like orange. I feel like the real orange smell, you either have to, it's great as an essential oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's great if you shove like an orange peel in your garbage disposal and grind it up and you can smell that way. Or
That's a cool trick. I
you
never
can
knew
also
that.
simmer some orange peels in water on your stove and create your own sort of aromatic. But most of the time, I think you need to get real close to an orange to smell it. Other than that, it is a faker, more chemically infused version of
that. Goes back to our like esters and artificial fruit flavor. My Christmas time on the stove thing is apple cider with a cinnamon stick and an orange peel. Perfect. And just kind of let that go low, and that just kind of fills the air.
It's a great scent.
It is a great scent. Another one that's on this list, and it's the same, that is not on this list. I don't think it's on this list, but it is my all-time favorite smell. Another of my all-time favorite. I have a million all-time favorite smells.
What is it?
It's what all of the candles that I have are. All the scented candles in my apartment are this smell. Christmas tree.
Sure.
I love Christmas tree smell. Ooh, how I love Christmas tree smell.
Christmas tree smell is great.
And if it's the promise of something, if the smell is the promise of something, be it cookies or an adventure or a movie about to start, if the promise of Christmas is what the smell is giving you,
there is another scented candle from Yankee Candle Company or whomever that I enjoy even more than Christmas tree.
What's that?
Christmas cookies.
Oh,
it smells like sugar cookies. It smells like cookies baking.
Look, cookies baking is still on the top. Chocolate chip cookies baking is still on the top of the mountain right now.
Just keeping that ball in the air. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm not getting rid of that ball.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the ones we mentioned, the what of cooking. Let's talk about some of the ones of locations, some of the location based smells that really give you a sense of where you are. No, Hal, not the dump. Maybe so. Look, we don't want to scent shame anybody. Maybe somebody does like the smell of the dump. That's not going to be universally regarded and subject. That is, subjectively your favorite. This is objectively the best that we're looking for. And I'm going to say that some of the ones that are location based that I really like are morning dew. That's sort of like wet in the woods, that specifically outdoors, like rural area, morning dew.
Mild scent. Yeah.
It's very mild. Pavement after rain is another great one.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of like that wet pavement smell that, where everything's, it's sort of the smell of cleansing, you know?
It's also a very nostalgic scent.
Oh yeah. I went to, real quick. I went in New York once to an art gallery this is the most Brooklyn Williamsburg thing, that was there at the time. And I loved it. It was an olfactory art gallery showing. So you go in and it was just little vials. You know, we talked about esters on a previous episode. It was just this guy makes esters. That's what he does, is he comes up with different evocative smells. And one of them was pavement after rain. And that was one of my favorite ones. And it was so on point and so specific. And he had, just a bunch of them. You walk through this gallery and it's just little bottles on shelves. You pick them up and smell them. One of them was, all it said on the bottle was, this one. And this one's not on the list right now. But as fans of childhood nostalgia, it made me very happy when I saw the bottle that said, this one. I opened it up and smelled it and instantly was taken back to extruding bright colored dough through the Play-Doh Fun Factory.
Oh, Play-Doh smell.
Play-Doh smell. One. Right?
Oh, I love the smell of Play-Doh. I kind of like the smell of crayons too, not as much. Because it's just the smell of the wax and the paper. Like it just brings back a memory, but
it puts you in a place.
Is a very specific smell and it still smells good. And there's something kind of quirky about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the smell of creativity and possibility in that way.
So are crayons, I think.
Yeah.
I think that there's those ones that are the smell of possibility. I would put crayons on that list. I would put books on that list. People love the smell of new and old books. The promise and the possibility of either reading or writing something that'll take us to a faraway land.
Do you know what the book smell is?
What is it?
Book smell, the organic materials that are used to make paper contain something called lignin in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very similar to vanillin, which is where we get vanilla from. So over time, the lignin breaks down and it gives books a faint scent of vanilla. So that oftentimes is what you're smelling that book smell is
Oh.
over time.
But old books specifically.
Something related to vanilla. So it doesn't taste like vanilla. It's just over time. Books
Smell, Hal. Don't eat your books. Hold on. Now I got to grab an old book.
Oh, here we go.
Around the Capitol,
Yeah.
1902.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is there a smell of vanilla in there? Like vanilla, not quite vanilla, but like something similar to it?
There is. Well, it's just that old book smell. Now
It's
I'm trying to
lignin.
find the vanilla.
That's why
it's lignin, huh?
But it's similar to vanilla, and it's not vanilla. There isn't vanilla in your books unless it is a perfume sample book from 1910. It's an organic compound that's breaking down and creating that smell.
Yeah.
And it is a great smell. I love the smell of an old bookstore and even a new bookstore. This is a smell to new books as well.
Yeah.
It's just, it is a very satisfying smell.
I had a scent punch me in the face with nostalgia a couple of days ago.
What was that?
It was, I may have it right here, and I'm going to do it again if I have it. Oh, I don't have it right with me right now. I bought a box of these.
Oh,
That is the
Ticonderoga.
classic Dixon Ticonderoga.
Mhm.
And I opened up the box. I was like, do these still smell the same? Smelled it. And I was taken immediately back to 4th grade.
Yeah.
Like it is those childhood smells from a classroom. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
And they're so evocative. Again, but it comes back to that whole thing about nostalgia being the main driving force behind the smells that we like.
Right.
So on the subject of putting us in a place of
Sure.
smells putting us in a place,
Mhm.
what about barbecue, fireplaces, fire pits, the fire-based smells?
I love those smells.
Yeah,
They're
those
great.
smoky. What's a good thing you love them, and I love them too, because boy, when you leave a campfire, do you smell like nothing except that campfire?
Yeah, sure. It gets into everything.
Yeah.
But it is a great smell. I love to smell it off in the distance. Like, oh, somebody is burning wood in their fireplace or somebody
Mm-hmm.
has a fire pit going. Even in the distance, it smells good.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is a different smell from wildfires, which when that happens, there is a smell
That's
throughout
danger.
all of Southern California.
We've
And it is-
smelled it many times.
It is completely different. And part of that is the amount of matter that is burning at the same time. You know, it's not all just brush or trees. It's people's homes, people's things. Like that's not a pleasant smell. It
No.
just feels like it is panic inducing.
It is a very different thing than the smell of we are sitting around sitting around either a campfire or a fireplace. Fireplace smell has a bit of a different smell than a campfire does.
Yeah.
A charcoal grill, barbecuing.
Yeah.
Like the barbecue
smell.
itself has a smell, but the charcoal also gives you that, outdoorsy summertime smell.
It does.
I'm looking at all of these different things. By the way, are there any others from this list or any list? I know I've thrown a couple on there myself that we haven't talked about that you'd like to talk about.
I feel
Ken
like
mentioned
we're-
one. We were talking before about everybody smells babies all the time,
Uh-huh.
but I think producer Ken Plume was right in that it's the baby powder.
Well, you're not picking up and smelling their butt.
No, yeah, that's the thing.
the
It's like
smell on top
if
of
you're
their
going
head,
over,
you
if you're
smell their
going
head.
the top of their head, if you're going over to your friend's house that's just had a baby and you're holding their baby and the top of their head is right by your face and it's been baby powdered, that's what you're smelling.
Look, it is, I do find it weird when people want to smell other people's children. If it's your child,
Yeah.
you smell that head all the time.
Yeah.
But unless you're offered, like, you gotta smell this baby's head.
Right.
It's great.
And it's only
It is
baby. It's
so
not
weird. I'm gonna smell you. I'm gonna smell that baby. I'm gonna smell your baby. Give me that baby so I can smell your baby. I don't want to hand that person
No.
my baby.
Also,
Smell.
here's a public service announcement that a friend of mine gave me. Don't grab their hands, grab their feet when you see them. If
And
you
then
want to do a
swing 'em
little
around.
do-do-do-do-do-do, pinch their little feet, not their little hands, because their little hands go in their mouth all the time. And you know what I mean? Like,
And don't hit him with a closed fist. Use an open hand.
open. You're terrible.
And don't smell the baby.
Ken says what you're smelling
That's
is
trying
baby
to
shampoo.
justify everything. Yes.
He really
the smell,
is.
It's the
Yeah.
shampoo. A baby's just made up. So just go to the baby product aisle in Target, open all the bottles, and then you can smell that. You don't have to smell somebody's baby. I maintain there is a baby scent. A baby does have a smell. It is not just a bunch of projects, you baby Scrooge, Ken.
Why isn't it?
Baby.
Why is it? It's always the baby. It's never the older kid. It's like, hey, come here. I want to smell your 13-year-old's head.
You do not want to smell a 13-year-old's head. I worked as a camp counselor for many years at a day camp. And, you would have your bunk. And then in the afternoon, there were activity periods. And all the counselors got rotated to different duty. Like you supervised dodgeball, you helped out by the pool. Just
what was the best duty?
Was safe. Probably like something where you got to play dodgeball or kickball or something with the kids.
Word.
The worst was being on locker room duty.
Oof,
because
gross.
You would stand as far away from the changing area as possible and just go, all right, everybody, let's go. Come on, everyone. And the smell of the children, all of these kids, like 12, 13, like just when you are that age, you just stink because all the stinks are coming in, but you don't really have the means to deal with them. You're not even thinking about them yet.
How we have kids that listen to this show, Trunchbull.
Listen, I'm just saying it's part of growing up. You and I, you stank, I stunk.
I didn't stink.
You did.
I've sprayed so much Dracar on myself starting at 12. I'm Italian.
You were terrible. It was even worse. It smelled like a 12-year-old Dracar bottle running around. Sweating.
Oh, man.
Stinking.
What were your go-to? Were you a cologne kid at all?
I got cologne a couple of times. It was like a fancy, we're going to temple. You should put on some cologne. But
I'm still a cologne guy.
I don't own any anymore. No.
I have some. I've got like 5 different ones in there.
You're a very scented guy. No, I just deodorant and soap. That's all I use.
That's fair. You always smell delightful.
Oh, really? Well, thank you. I hope you'll tell me if I have a smell. Really tell me.
Can we make this pact right now?
What? Yes.
Can we make this pact right now?
For you and me. Just for you and me. Not for
you and I. If you're like
listening,
you can just be like,
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. Be like, bro.
Yes.
TCB.
Yeah.
Take care of body odor.
WYB. Wash your butt.
Sure. AEE and everything else.
Yeah, that's like a very important part of a relationship. Similar
to telling each other. Yeah.
My parents had a whole system to tell the other one when they had a booger.
What was their system?
It was nay. Nay. Wall nay. Left nay. Right nay. And then you would go like, nay. You'd show your nostril, the check. Nay.
They sound like booger wielding Muppets from the yip 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 bah 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 bah.
Ring telephone. Nay 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 nay. Yeah, that was the whole system.
Well, here's my question, Hal.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like our best smell is going to be something nostalgic that comes from one of 3 categories.
You are really filling time here. Go ahead.
No. I'm trying to get philosophical on you.
But you know what the answer is.
Not yet necessarily.
Really?
Well, look, I want to be thorough.
Okay.
This is a podcast.
If it makes you happy, yes.
It does make me happy.
Then let's do it.
It feels like it breaks down into 3 different distinct categories. Mm-hmm. And maybe this isn't about, picking the winner. This is just an observation that I've made.
Sure.
It is either the promise of adventure. And that is where you get, I would argue, sometimes even coffee and bacon in the morning to start a day. The leather going out like in the world, like that sort of, smell. You've got the promise of creativity. That is books, markers, that Dixon Ticonderoga box that I opened up. Play-Doh. Even some lists I saw had new carpets and new paint. And I would put new car smell in that. Like it's that I know some of them are more chemical based.
No, it's not. I wouldn't say creative. I don't think of creativity.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Car smell.
That's true.
That's more in the adventure.
Yeah.
Or really it's kind of a status smell too. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I got a new car. I have a new car. I love that new car smell. No matter what the car is, the smell is somewhat similar to me, at least in all new cars. So to own a Toyota Corolla or to own a Tesla, whatever, Cybertruck, you get the same smell. It's the same status. Like in that moment, in terms of smell, everything is equal.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. All new car smell is the same new car smell.
Yeah. And it's a big deal to get a new car. Not everybody can get a new car all the time or like even ever. That's a real privilege.
Agreed. Man, the number of cars I bought that had weird smells in them when I bought them, and I was like, this is fine.
That MG must have had a smell.
That MG smelled like
didn't go up.
It smelled like gasoline, and it went up eventually.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the one that it was the Isuzu Amigo that did not have a proper top on it because I shattered the glass of the manually removable moonroof. And so when I went to San Diego, it started raining and I had to drive with an umbrella out, holding an umbrella and driving the car, sticking out the top of the moonroof so I wouldn't get wet inside.
Poppins Mobile.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I looked like Mr. Bean driving around in that thing. But the third thing is the promise of a warm hearth and home. And that, I think, is the one that smell always takes us back to. And I think that there are a few on here, like hearth specific is a fireplace and everything else in the kitchen. But I think there is one really standout hearth and home smell that brings it all together. And we both know what it is.
Which one is it, Mark? Say it.
Come on, man.
Say it for me.
Baking chocolate chip cookies.
There you go. Baking cookies. Baking cookies.
Specifically chocolate chip cookies.
I will accept that because they're the best cookie. We all know that. Did we do that episode yet? I think we did.
Probably. I don't know. We got like 1,000 of these, don't we?
Guess what? It's chocolate chip. It might as well be 4 million of these. It's chocolate chip cookie.
You have to say it, Hal.
I'm going to. People of the world, the best smell is the smell of a treat, is the smell of the time you spend together baking it. Both the dough, like the dough has a smell to it, and then you get to smell that caramelize and bake and become something that always feels like a little taste of home. I think that's what we love about chocolate chip cookies, is there's something that makes us feel like there's a little bit of home in them. And that is why the smell of them baking creates such strong nostalgia. Is so closely associated with making a house feel like a home, to the extent that it is a strategy used in open houses. I don't know how often it's used anymore. Now it's just sort of generally having treats out, but that makes a difference. If you walk into some place and you smell all of those wonderful smells coming together, it is both relaxing and makes you feel like you belong. Yeah. And that is why the smell of a chocolate chip cookie baking is the best smell. Asked and answered.
Hal, did you know that, and I'm not going to say who on the podcast. Okay. Maybe we'll tell Michelle Perkins directly.
Sure.
There was one guest star that came in and did the Thrilling Adventure Hour with us. One celebrity guest star that came in and did the show. And I thought, oh my God, he smells like chocolate chip cookies being baked. We'll talk about it after and let everybody else wonder who I'm talking about.
I think I know who it is, but yeah, we'll talk off air. This will be something for everybody to wonder about. Another part of We Got This and Thrilling Adventure Hour lore.
That's right.
Thank you, Michelle Perkins, for suggesting this.
This topic is closed, but there are many more topics to discuss. So please reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or
email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com, or go to our Facebook group and talk about your favorite smells. That's facebook.com/groups/WeGotThisPodcast. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, whose wonderful podcast, A Bit of a Chat with Ken Plume, is available wherever you get your podcasts, including this one. Thank you to researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks, of course, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, the people of the world. We just want to spend a whole day smelling your heads. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody.
We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.